If you guys want one-on-one training, online training, or nutritional coaching, please head on over to my website, jpfitnesspro.com. Just go to the services tab and select which one you would like. You can also subscribe to my newsletter and contact me through my website as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks.
What is up, everybody? This is JP here. First things first, before I get into the video, I'm going to tell you one more fact about myself. And one fact is that I am terrible at finding things and I always misplace things. I don't know what it is about me. Like this morning, I couldn't find my debit card. It took me like probably 20 to 30 minutes to realize, oh, I might have left it at Best Buy, because I went and bought a webcam so I could start going live on YouTube. And yeah, I ended up leaving it at Best Buy when I bought the webcam the day prior, and I had to go pick it up this morning. But yep, there's probably a lot of you guys who watch this where I like that as well. You just tend to misplace things, and I'm always thinking about something, so I'll set something down somewhere and I won't realize that I left it. So yeah, that's just that's one thing that's common with many people, and that happens to me a lot. Today's video is going to be about the neck split, and that is going to be a push-pull leg split. I already went over bro splits and I already went over total body. Then I have push-pull legs, and then I have one more to do, which is upper lower. But today's is push-pull legs. If you don't know what a push-pull leg split is, it's upper body push, so it's all your push muscle groups of the upper body. Then the next day would be all the pull muscle groups of the upper body, and then it would be legs on the third day of lower body. So anything, basically legs is essentially meaning lower body. So for example, push, it would be chest, shoulders, triceps. For pull, it would be lats, upper back, and biceps. I say upper back because there's a lot of musculature up there, the traps, rhomboids, the external rotators, your rear delts. I don't put delts on shoulders. When I mean shoulders, I mean, when I talk about shoulders for push days, I mean what's going to work with the upper body push. Anything that works with push, and it's not going to be your rear delts. And if the rear delts do have some type of activation in them, it's very, very, very minor. But yes, when I do shoulders, I do lateral and front delts. I don't do rear delts. I put with back exercises because it works really closely with your traps and rhomboids and high rows and things of that sort. And then biceps as well on the pull day. And then legs would be glutes, quads, hamstrings, and calves, entire lower body. Again, it's a pretty popular split. A lot of people have programs running the split, and overall, I think it's a good split. I'm actually currently running a push-pull leg split right now. So the pros of a push-pull leg split. The first pro is that it's just a very efficient split all in all in regards to time and exercises. Each workout, because you're working on one muscle, like when you're doing these workouts, you're actually working muscle groups that work very closely together, so they're very efficient. Someone who wants to make, like, let's just say a pull in the push-pull leg split, that workout doesn't have to be that long, because you're basically working muscle groups that work really closely together, and they all kind of work in unison. Like for example, a bent over row is going to hit every single muscle group that's going to be for your pull day on your push-pull legs. It's going to hit biceps, it's going to hit your upper back, and it's going to hit your lats. Now, I'm not saying that's the only exercise you have to do, but I'm just saying that it's going to hit all those muscle groups. So it's going to be very efficient in the sense of time and just exercise in general. Let's start with time. And when I mean time, I mean each workout. You don't need, since we're just, let's just say on pull day, we're just focusing on the back, the entire back, and then biceps. We don't need to do that many exercises, especially if, well, and I'll go to that in the cons, especially, and you should be doing this, you're doing the pull day twice, which means it would be 6 workouts a week, push-pull legs, push-pull legs. I don't need to do that many back exercises on my back day. For example, one day I could have a bent over row, one day I could have pull-ups, and then face pull, and then that's it, just 3 exercises. And that would be, I could do 3 sets each for 9 sets on back. And they kind of each target a little bit different area of the back. 3 exercises on back and maybe 1 on biceps, that's 4 exercises. You could even do 2 sets of each for not a long workout, and then we're hitting back a whole nother day. So these workouts aren't that long, they don't have to be that long, and you're getting 2 times a week frequency, which is what we're gonna go to in the next pro. So when it comes to just workout time, it's very efficient. And then exercises, and that's what I was saying a little bit ago, and I kind of got ahead of myself, but each workout is just very efficient in the sense that you're doing exercises that are going to kind of flow into one another, if you get what I'm saying. For example, when we warm up for our first back exercise, we're going to be doing another back exercise that is somewhat hitting the same muscle group. So I don't need to warm up 2, 3, or 4 times like you might need to do on, first, say, a total body workout. If you're doing a total body workout, I don't know about you, but I need to warm up for squats. I need to do a whole mobility routine for squats. And then if I go to a completely different muscle group, I have to warm up that muscle group as well. I can't just go right into the heavy work for a pull like on a total body. So if I have legs, then I have a pull, and then I have a push, I need to do warm-up sets and rehearsal sets for those exercises. Legs, like I said, I have to do a mobility routine. So it just ends up being not efficient at all for total body. But for a push-pull legs, like a pull day or any of those, I really only need to warm up, do my core temperature warm up, my general warm up, then I do my mobility, and then I go into my rehearsal sets, and I don't need to do rehearsal sets for every exercise. Each exercise kind of just flows into one another since they're all pull. I get the concept of pull. And then when it comes to this efficiency of exercises, you also have to think about just the mindset. When you go into a workout, you're thinking, okay, what are all the cues for legs? What are all the cues for whatever exercise I'm gonna do? What's the technique like? And if it's staying in the same muscle group, the technique is gonna be the same. Now on total body, it's like, okay, what are the, like, let's just say total body, what are the cues and techniques I gotta remember for a squat? Well, what's the techniques and cues I gotta remember for a pull? What's the techniques and cues? You just have to kind of, it's not that big of a deal. It's a very minor thing. But again, it's just something that, like on a push-pull legs, when I go into the workout, I know I'm just focusing on pull. Any good cues that I know for pull exercises, like for example, a good pull cue that people use is to wrap your thumb around, and not around, but over, kind of like a suicide grip, but it's a pull, it's not a push, so it's gonna be a lot safer. And then think of my hands as just hooks, and to kind of tuck my elbow into my back pocket to get kind of like that good mind to muscle connection. Boom, I can use that for every single exercise. So it just makes it real efficient in the sense of you're doing exercises that are very similar, are recruiting the same musculature, and it's just kind of like that same mindset for each exercise generally. Now the next pro for a push-pull leg split is it's just easy to accumulate weekly volume. It just is. If you're working out 6 times a week, which is going to be a con in a little bit I'm going to go over, but assuming you're doing push-pull legs, and then Sunday or whatever day is your day off, it's just easy to get weekly volume in. Again, I don't need to do that many exercises on my back day, because not the magic number, but the scientific literature is pretty clear that to optimize gains in muscle mass, or to start making optimal gains, the most gains you can get is you want 10 plus sets a week per muscle group, 10 plus sets. And how exactly you define a muscle group is going to be a little bit different depending on who you ask. But you do have to be careful of muscle group crossover. Like a bent over row and the pull-ups are both gonna hit the lats. And depending on how you do each exercise, you could count them both as lats. But again, you could change the row or change the pull-ups to make it a little bit different. So you may not consider it a heavy lat movement. Like if you do like a cable high row, I would consider that more of an upper back movement. I like breaking up back into my upper back and then my lats, because that pretty much is the easy way to do it. Sometimes there is crossover between exercises, but to get back on track, it's easy just to accumulate volume when you're doing push-pull legs. You go into the workout, you don't have to do a bunch of muscle groups. It's like, okay, get a good amount of volume on these muscle groups that work very closely together, and then get out. I don't have to do legs and all these major muscle groups. I don't need to do a bunch of warm-ups. I just go in there, do a couple exercises on back, some good key exercises. And again, you can make each workout very efficient by picking wise exercises. Like if you look at my minimalist series that I've been coming out with, boom, you could do the minimalist series. I'm going to be coming out with 2 for every single muscle group, every single muscle group. So like 2 for back. So you could do a push-pull leg split with my minimalist series, and it's going to be a very nice and neat for people who don't have that much daily time to work out. They might be able to work out every day, but they don't have a lot of time each day to do so. Push-pull legs is perfect. And again, you're not leaving any gains on the table, because it's easy to get that 2 times a week muscle group frequency that the scientific literature has shown to be optimal. And it's easy to get that good volume with those 2 workouts, because you don't have a lot of stuff to focus on in that workout. Now, a couple more pros is it's easy, and it's very, this split is good to nitpick. It's very good to nitpick. Now, you can still nitpick in the other splits. I'm not saying you can't do this in other splits, but it's just not as easy. With the push-pull legs, when I get to a back workout, you only need, what, 1 or 2 big meaty compound movements for like again, a pull on a back. And you can say with push or legs, I'm just saying pull just because I'm picking pull. But with push or legs, just do your 2 meaty compound movements. Like on a pull day, I could do a bent over row and pull-ups, or bent over row and chin-ups. Boom, 2 big meaty compounds. That's gonna give me the best bang for my buck right there. And then I can start going on to some exercises that are more like sculpting and chiseling and some very minor things. Like, for example, one on your back that you should always include at some point throughout the week is external rotator work. You know, for people who are doing a total body, and again, I'm not trying to knock total body, is that you can only work out 3 hard times a week. So like for you to get all those compounds, and if you want isolations, you can get isolations too. It's just going to be a lot more work. And then you can get, on top of that, you need to get some external rotator work and some more, and then calves. And then it just ends up being a lot to do in just 3 solid days. And again, you can try to cram it on another day, but there's going to be some double work days that you're doing for muscle groups, which isn't good. But with push-pull legs is you can kind of nitpick is once you get those 2, because think about 2 exercises, 3 sets each, that's not that much stuff to do in a workout. So after that, it's like, okay, well, what can I kind of, the smaller muscle groups, what are the things that I can more hone in on? Like for me, face pulls are a good one. External rotation exercises. You may try to do some unique exercise to just specifically target the rear delts or something like that. It's just good to kind of nitpick and sculpt your physique with the push-pull leg split, which is why I think this split is really good for people whose main focus is hypertrophy. So if your main focus is hypertrophy, I think push-pull legs is probably the best split, or at least a way that you can get optimal gains. I can structure push-pull leg split so easy for someone who can work out 6 times a week. All right, the last pro that I can come up with the push-pull legs is that it's just easy to do for all training levels. Again, I'll focus on the con a little bit, but as long as you can work out 6 times a week, I can structure a push-pull leg split to be so easy. Some people, again, can work out 6 times a week. They just don't like working out long, or they don't have the time to work out long. For a beginner, if they did, that might sound like a lot to do in a week 6 workouts, but if you could just do really low volume, I mean, you could do so low volume that the workouts are like 15 minutes, 20 minutes for a beginner, boom, it's done, they're in and out, and it's just such short workouts that they're like, okay. Now, I'm not saying that a push-pull leg split would be the absolute best for a beginner. I would probably give them a total body at the beginning, you know, not have them work out so much, but if I could easily structure a push-pull leg split for a beginner. And you have to remember, sometimes beginners like being in the gym. So that's a way to kind of trick them to think, oh, I'm always in the gym. But if you're doing really low volume, I'm talking about 1 or 2 exercises on that, you know, that are difficult, then you can kind of accommodate to what they like, but still make it that it's not too much. So again, I think it's just good for all training levels. Now the cons is, again, this is the biggest con that I think of a push-pull leg split. If you want that optimal, you know, scientific 2 times a week frequency per muscle group, and a way that you can get a lot of good weekly volume for you to make optimal gains, you need to work out 5 or 6 times a week. Obviously, 6 times a week would make it optimal for push-pull legs, but I even say 5 because if you just have to push that next thing on to the next week and just it ends up rotating like awkwardly, that's okay. But anything less than 5, you're now doing every muscle group like once every 1.5 weeks. So again, if you don't have the days available to work out 5 or 6 times a week, I would honestly look for another split. I just would, because it's going to be easier for you to, 1, optimize that 2 times a week frequency at least, and then just get volume. You get high exposure to those exercises so you can focus on technique really well. Again, so if you have the time to work out 5, 6 times a week, they don't have to be long workouts because you're only focusing on one kind of some muscle groups that work in unison with each other, then I would look at a different split. So that's the biggest downside to it, because some people just don't have the time or don't want to work out 5 to 6 times a week. I like working out 6 times a week, so that's why I do push-pull legs. The next con is that the last half of the workout might be fatiguing for that muscle groups you're working. Now I say this because this is one pro of total body and then one pro of a upper lower split kind of, is that when you're doing like, for example, total body, when you're going from muscle group to muscle group, there's increased global fatigue, but there's decreased local fatigue. Once you're done with your 1, maybe 2 leg exercises for a total body, that's it. You're basically done for legs if you do 2 exercises. Now, when you're done with your upper body pull, you're done for the upper body pull. When you do your upper body push, you're done with it. You don't just keep doing upper body push over and over. With push-pull legs, like let's just say go back to the pull. When I do a bent over row, I don't care what exercise comes next. It could be the most different, weird back exercise that you can give me. It's still going to use the same muscle groups that I just used for a bent over row. I could take a long rest period. I could do whatever I need to do. You're still, unless you're taking like 30-minute rest periods, you're still gonna feel that fatigue from the previous exercise, that local fatigue. So while your general fatigue or global fatigue might not be high, if you do a bent over row, then you do a pull-up next, or vice versa, that second exercise is going to suffer a little bit of fatigue because you just did a back exercise, and it's going to keep happening. So that last half of the workout, even if it's not a long workout, if you have 4 total exercises that workout, 2 or 3 sets each, these last 2 are going to be fatigued, which may lower training volume, and it may lead to a lower quality of the set. So the set might not look as nice, or it might be a little bit more difficult to keep that tip-top technique. But again, if you're structuring your workouts well, like putting the isolation movements at the end, or putting the least demanding exercises at the end and putting the big meaty ones first, that shouldn't be that much of a problem, but you are gonna feel it. When I went from an upper-lower split, all-lower, I could, to a push-pull legs, I could 100% feel it. It was no doubt within my mind. When I did it, I was like, wow, going from like on a push day, I felt it a lot on push day. I would do bench press, then I go to something else. I'd be like, oh man, I just did this muscle group kind of like. Bench press is gonna use chest, shoulders, triceps. So if I did something else, even if it was mainly shoulders, I'd still feel it. Whereas on like an upper-lower split, I'd go from an upper body push to an upper body pull, and I wouldn't feel it nearly as much. I would have a whole 3 or 4 sets before I went back to an upper body push when I had a pull next. And then I could feel recovered for that muscle group a lot better. So yeah, that is definitely something to note. And then I guess the last con, it's very slight, but if you're someone like a power lifter or your main focus is technique, you can't get 3 times a week frequency with the push-pull leg split for an exercise. So if you're a power lifter focusing on an HPS setup, hypertrophy power strength throughout the week, push-pull legs is pretty much a no-go. You can't do it. So if you're someone who just is maybe an outlier and you have like a horrible lift that you just need to get good, and you want to do it 3 times a week, because I would argue that that's the best way to get good at a lift, is do it like 3 times a week. Then you just can't do that with a push-pull leg split. So I'd argue that if your main goal is strength or you're a power lifter, then a push-pull leg split is not optimal for you. Now, I could still make a push-pull leg split optimal for a power lifter, or have great success definitely for a powerlifter or someone whose main goal is strength. But again, if I had to pick one, I mean, you might want to argue that total body or upper lower split would probably be better. Now, if you're not someone with glaring holes in your stuff, you could still set it up that like one day you have some form of technique work on that exercise that you're trying to get better at. So that's the last con that I get. All in all, I really think push-pull legs is a good split, good for people with strength, even for strength-focused goals, even better for people who whose main goal is hypertrophy. And all in all, it's good for all training levels. I'm personally using it, and it's just has a lot of good things going for it. If you guys have any questions, comments about this split in particular, leave them down below. The next video is going to be on the upper-lower split. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.